travelers dream of experiencing the beauty of Tanzania, from its stunning national parks to vibrant cultural sites. Yet the costs often seem overwhelming. But with Visit Tanzania for Less, exploring this East African gem on a budget is not only possible, but incredibly rewarding. Whether you're a solo backpacker, a volunteer, or just a budget-conscious traveler, we provide valuable insights and resources to make your journey unforgettable without breaking the bank. Book your trip now with just a $300 deposit and flexible monthly payments until your travel date. For more travel inspiration and tips, follow us on Instagram or visit us at visittanzaniaforless.com. Visit Tanzania for Less, your dream adventure within reach.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Community Focus. Normally, when you turn into this program, you see Greg Roberts, my brother, sitting here. Greg is still recovering. I want you guys to make sure you send out your thoughts and prayers to him. But nonetheless, we're going to continue with Community Focus. You see, sitting with me here today is Muskegon Heights Public School trustee Tamieko Simmons. We're going to be interviewing her. But before we do that, I know you want to know what the weather is going to be, right? Well, if you look out, not the best day, but today, cloudy, low of 41, high of 60. Tomorrow, Saturday, low 48, high of 54. Regrettably, Sunday, there is a 70% chance of rain, low of 40, high of 59, but it gets worse. Sunday, 30% chance of snow, low of 28, high of 40. Tuesday, low 25, high of 43. Wednesday, again, 30% chance of rain, low 32, high 56. And next Thursday, low of 42, high of 52. Not much sun expected over the next 7 days. Top news stories of the week. Again, these are in no particular order, and you may have your own top five, but top five news stories of the week. Tesla protests are still going on, and they're planning the biggest protest ever. So for you Tesla owners, be careful out there. I don't know if we're calling it Signal Gate yet, but the story has not gone away. If you have been paying attention, we have several of our top intelligence and government officials were in a text chat that apparently was not secure, and folks want answers. Yesterday was the first day of baseball. Doesn't quite feel like spring, but baseball kicked off the day for all you baseball fans. Let's go with two sports stories. NCAA men and women's basketball tournament. We're down to our Sweet 16s, and before the weekend is over, we'll have our Final Four. Has your bracket been busted yet? And then our final story, let's make it local. We're looking for spring. A lot of rain, a lot of dreary days. Every once in a while, we get a little sunshine peeking through, but we're ready to get outside. We're ready to get walking and get to the park. So let's all hope that spring, the real spring, is not too far off. So those are our top five news stories for the week. Again, this is Community Focus. I want to welcome to the microphone our guest, Ms. Tamieko Simmons. Some of you all that have been around Muskegon Heights may recognize. So you're immortalized and famous because every time you see those photos from the 78 or 79 championship basketball game, you're right there in that photo. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So you've been immortalized for years. So that famous photo. But today you are a newly elected member of the Muskegon Heights Public School System Board of Trustees.
Yes.
Want to talk about that, and then I know you have an event coming up we want to get into. But For folks that may not know, that aren't from Muskegon Heights, that don't bleed the orange and black, tell folks a little bit about yourself.
Well, I graduated in the class of 1981. Woo woo! Hey, um, I went to the military, came back home, and I just decided, hey, it's time to due diligence.
Okay.
So that's why I ran at the final hour.
Okay.
And basically, my mom and dad went to hikes. I went to hikes. My kids went to hikes.
Uh-huh.
And I want things to continue.
Okay.
So I decided to go ahead and run with a couple other people. And we're doing our due diligence to get us back to where we were. If not back totally, we're going to get really dang close.
Okay. And so you've been on the board 3 months now?
4.
4. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll just talk about a little bit. So what has been probably the thing that uh, since being a member you didn't expect?
Everything.
Everything.
I didn't expect nothing.
Do you every day say, what did I get myself into?
No, because I'm really dedicated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's some good days and some bad days, but I
Mhm.
don't second judge my judgment.
Okay.
I'm really dedicated.
Sure.
Like you say,
Uh-huh.
I bleed orange and black. I
Yeah.
am one of those that does.
All right.
And I want to pick up the torch and get it back to where it's supposed to be.
Okay. So now I know you have an event coming up. Tell us about the event that you have planned.
Well, on April the 4th, the PSA board and the BOE, we are having a meet and greet for the parents, faculty, and students. We're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have food, little sandwiches and stuff. And we have, what do you call it? A paper that we want everybody to fill out. We have some questionnaire. It's a questionnaire. We have some questions on there because we're trying to get the parents and the faculty involved. What do you want to see Muskegon Hikes to be?
Okay.
Where do you want us to go? In what direction? We're
Okay.
trying to implement everyone. And our event is on April the 4th at Tiger Way between 4 and 7 p.m.
Okay. For folks that don't know, Tiger Way is
The hallway in the middle of the building, right
Okay.
before you go into the gymnasium
at the high school.
at the high school,
Okay. That's 7 p.m. April the 4th, Tiger Way,
4 to 7.
4 to 7. Okay. 4 to 7.
Yes.
Okay. And so now you use two acronyms, and again, we want to educate people. You say the PSA and the BOA. Explain to people why you use those two acronyms and what they mean.
Okay, the PSA is the governing board
Mhm.
that does all of the functions,
Mhm.
the day-to-day functions for the academy.
Yes.
The BOE board, we're kind of like the overseers.
Okay.
We make sure that they're in compliance.
Gotcha.
They take care of everything. We just make sure that they're in compliance and support them.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And for folks who, like myself, who may not have children in the school system, should we attend this event as well?
Well, on the 24th of April,
Okay.
we're going to have a community meet and greet
Okay.
from 4 to 7 in Tiger Way also.
Okay.
That's like anybody that's in the community that wants to come, ask, talk to us, because a lot of people don't know us.
Mm-hmm.
We have a total brand new 2 boards.
Okay.
So we want them to come, talk to us, give us some feedback on, where they want us to go.
Mm-hmm.
Can they help us get there?
Mm-hmm.
It's just we want everybody in the community to come together
Okay.
and work with us.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to keep it transparent. We're not trying to hide anything.
Yeah.
But we just want everything.
And talk about that as a board member. It's like, you're not sitting in a vacuum, that you want people to say, because sometimes people think, I don't want to hear from anybody. And maybe some people feel that way, but talk about for yourself how important it is that people talk to you, give you feedback, you hear their comments, even if you don't agree with them.
I mean, it makes us better and it gives us ideas to piggyback off of. We may not have all the answers,
Mm-hmm.
but somebody can come to us and say, well, hey, we used to do this, or what y'all think about trying to do this? And, we'll sit down and we'll see, hey, this person gave us this idea. So what y'all think about it?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's going to benefit the children, this whole thing is about our children. It's not about nothing else. We want them to have the best education possible
Okay.
because we got it.
Mm-hmm.
And we want them to continue getting what they are deserving.
Okay, sounds good. So we had the event April 4th, 4 to 7 p.m. Tiger Way,
Mm-hmm.
and then on April 24th, Tiger Way again.
Yes,
That event will be what time?
from 4 to 7.
4 to 7. So we got two opportunities, folks.
It's
If
the
you
25th.
25th, okay.
Yes.
So if you've been talking, complaining, wondering, we've got two opportunities for you to show up, express your opinion, share some thoughts, to be constructive about the Muskegon Heights public school system. In addition to that, when does the board meet?
The PSA board meets every third Monday,
Okay.
and the BOE board, we meet every second Thursday.
Okay. All right. So I'm getting this out there for the public because again, people say they don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than just trying to follow Facebook or what your friends say, you have a chance to come to the meetings and
Yes.
listen at firsthand, and have a chance to come and talk to you all.
Yes.
Now, if folks want to contact Board of Education or contact you, how can they do that?
Well, I'll throw out my own number.
Okay. And you don't have to. If you'd rather they contact the board to reach you, that's fine. But
Well, right now we don't have a administrative secretary yet,
okay.
but I'm putting myself out there.
Okay.
They can contact me at 231-343-3219.
Okay. Good. Thank you for that. And I hope the folks will take advantage of the opportunity.
I hope so too, because we need input, and we are trying to be, like I said, we're trying to be transparent, and we want the community to get involved.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that's why we are having this event, so they can come out. Everybody may not be able to make our board meetings, but we're trying to make it so everybody can attend a event and let us know what's going on.
Sure.
How do they feel?
Mm-hmm.
What do they think? Because we figured out transparency is the best thing.
Yes.
And if we can get them to come out either to the board meetings or to this particular event, then we happy.
Good. So let me ask you. We talked about those events coming up. We're end of March. What other things are going on in the school system? Expect to see happen between now and end of the school year?
Well, we're doing what would you say, RFPs, and we're going to make some changes
Okay.
for the better.
Okay.
We're talking, and we're in contact with the state,
Okay.
and they gave us things that we need to do,
Okay.
and we're accomplishing them really fast.
Okay.
For us to have just been in office, we are really going kind of fast. We have some stumbling blocks, but we're on task.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing.
Yeah. I always tell people, whatever you think of the condition, when somebody at the state says, here's a list of 20 things, it kind of makes it easy, because all you do is say, you know what, this is the list. We know we got to work our way through it. It's not like we have to guess and make it up.
Right.
And so it's good to hear that you all are making progress with that. The big talk was the debt forgiveness, and again, for people, it was interesting because we were like late last year, early this year, and people were saying, "Well, when does it happen?" And I wasn't aware of it because I guess I just pay my tax bill and don't look at it. But uh, we're heading in a good direction. We got the debt forgiven. We got a new board in there. You guys are focused and heading in a direction. And that affects the students too. When when it feels like everybody's trying to move in the same direction.
Right. We're working together. Both boards are
Yes.
really working together cohesively.
And that's
And
good
that's
to
what
hear.
I like.
And that's good. I mean, you guys have different missions you're on, but we're heading the same place. And
Right.
I think as a community, that's what we all want to hear.
Yes. And
Great.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah. So how are the students doing? What events do the students have going on?
Well, the seniors, they're gearing up for graduation.
Sure.
The basketball team made it to the regionals.
Yes. Yes.
Everybody is kind of still on a high about that.
Good.
So, it's the transition.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the big thing is. It's the transition. What's
Okay.
going to happen next year?
Okay. Okay.
We don't have a whole lot to tell them,
Mm-hmm.
but that's why we want to get ideas
Sure.
to implement some things that we can do
Okay.
and get the students involved and make them be proud like we were when we were in school.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
it's a thing to be a tiger.
Mm-hmm.
It is a
Yes.
big thing to be a tiger, and we
Sure.
want to bring that back.
Sure. When we were in school a million years ago. Some
No.
kids, they look at us like we're dinosaurs. How do we get younger people to understand? Like earlier, I joked to you about Mr. Harris. When I say that means something to us.
Yes, it means a whole
But
lot.
how do we get the younger students to understand? We like to think we were in Muskie Heights during the golden age, but how do we get them to understand this crazy pride we have in this community? To know that we dye orange and black. That's why you were thinking about a school board, but you're here. You want to be a part of making things better. How do we get them to understand what that means to us?
We got to show them.
Okay.
That's all we got to do is
All
show
right.
them.
Got to do it with action, not talking.
Action and not talking.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. You mentioned basketball. You're some big sports fan.
Yeah.
Track season. For me, track season. Spring means
Yeah.
track season. And was really impressed with the job the track coach did last year, and they ended up with a couple of state qualifiers. We expect a good track team again this year.
Yes, they have. They are working now.
Okay.
They are working out now. We're trying to get some things in place for
Okay.
them to, go to the gym, go somewhere and work out and get them that oomph,
Okay.
that. But they are in training right now.
Okay. Good.
They
good.
are.
Yeah, I try to keep up when I can. When I saw a couple of 8-man football games last year, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. I thought, hey, this fits. So I look forward to that in the future. Every school system, students. How do we get our student attendance up? Any thoughts about some things that you want to do to try to attract more students to the district?
Well, we are looking at doing a lot of different things to get them involved,
Mm-hmm.
not to just come to school, go to class.
Okay.
We're trying to offer more things to them so they will get involved.
Sure.
Like when we were in school, we had like nursing,
Mhm.
different
Sure.
things to get them, to think and then be like, hey, I might want to do this,
Yes.
when
Yeah.
I get out of high school.
Yeah.
So we're trying to offer them a lot of more things besides just going in the classroom
Okay.
and get them involved.
Mm-hmm.
And if they get involved, that'll show them.
Yeah.
But we got to show them and give them, give them choices.
Yeah. It's more than just, you always want to say, go to school, learn, read, write, and math, but school is more than that. They're there a
Right.
third of their day, and they need extracurricular activities, whether it's
Right.
band or sports or even some of those things that add to the academic experience. So
Right.
I'm glad to hear you're going in that direction. Any other changes we can expect? I know you say you're kind of working it out now as we go and preparing for next year, but any other changes you think we can look forward to for next year?
Well, we're just trying to go. That's why we're trying to get the
Input.
input
Mhm.
from the community. You know, we just don't want them to be there in school. We want them to come to school and enjoy school. So that's what we're trying to work up on. You know, give them options.
Okay.
And at the rate we going, it's going to be pretty good.
Good.
It's
Well,
going to be pretty good.
good. I'm glad to hear it. I appreciate the positivity coming from a board member as a member of the community.
Oh,
It's good
yeah.
to hear. Folks, we are on Community Focus. My guest this afternoon is Tamieko Simmons. She is a Board of Trustee member with Muskegon Heights Public School System. Hopefully, you're listening. She's invited you to two events, one on April the 4th from 4 to 7 p.m., and another on April the 25th from 4 to 7. Both events will take place at Tiger Way at Muskegon Heights High School at the corner of Hume and Sanford. So if you have any questions, take advantage of the opportunity. I'm not going to give her number out again, but I'll let her do that. But she's saying we want to hear from the community, and we're certainly glad to have you in the studio and on the microphone today.
Yeah, because you know this ain't me.
You're doing an outstanding job. Doing an outstanding job.
Thank you.
Yeah. You mentioned transition. So are we looking at next year we'll transition back to will we still have the academy board system, or will that be changing?
Well, we're going to have the academy system next
Okay.
year, but
Okay.
we're trying to transition. That's why we adopted another year
Okay.
for the academy,
Okay.
and we're trying to get prepared to try to go back to public in the 26th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not too early to start planning so that
Right.
Okay.
We're letting them do their part and
Okay.
we're doing our part so we can transition.
Okay.
We have a lot to do,
Sure.
but we're knocking it off.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. Any other things going on in the school system with our students that you want to tell us about today?
Oh boy.
It's a lot. I know it's a lot.
It's
That's why they asked you that.
lot, you know. It's just a
Yeah.
lot. I mean,
Uh-huh.
they're getting ready to go on spring break
Okay.
after the thing Friday, next
Okay.
Friday. And it's like I just hope they come back and just get the rest of the year out. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
concentrate on finishing strong
Sure. Yeah.
for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. And hey, come back and be ready to get it going the next year.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you know this already. Will there be any summer programs going on during the summer for students?
I'm not sure because it's they haven't contacted us about anything.
Okay.
That's the PSA board.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes. Those kind of concerns the PSA board
Okay.
handles.
Okay. Now, do you all meet jointly? The two
We
boards?
have joint meetings. We have
Okay.
had one or two.
Okay.
We've had joint meetings, but yes,
Okay.
that's how we sit and brainstorm to help each other out.
Okay.
We are about, coming together because this event is for both boards. It's
Okay.
both boards.
Both boards will be there.
Both boards will be
Awesome.
there.
Good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I asked you a question at the beginning, and we've talked a while. I went to Lucio, so let me ask this question again. So, if you could pick one thing that surprised you the most since being on the board, what would you say? Is one of your top three?
The communication is better
Okay.
because of us. We all are dedicated.
Okay.
I was surprised it wasn't. That was one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that the students didn't really participate, like as far as going to school, getting excited.
Okay.
Because I know when we were in school, we were glad to come to school because we could see our friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we knew we had to get an education also.
Right.
So
right.
It's like these children now are different.
Okay.
It's like telephones, tablets. We didn't have all of that.
Yeah.
So that is kind of different from me, having all of those electronics and stuff.
Kind of got introduced to a new environment.
Right. It's a new environment because I was talking to our president and I was telling her, I was like, We didn't have all of this. I say you could have a little child, 2 years old, and they could take a phone and turn it on and push it, and they're right there where they want to be.
Yeah.
And they will sit there on that phone and play the game. So it's like technology nowadays, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to keep up or they'll get bored. If you're
Right.
trying to do something and they're like, we don't do that anymore.
Right. We don't do that
Yeah.
anymore. So that's shocking to me
Yeah.
because my children have been out of school since 2000, 2006. So it's like, it's just a big turnaround.
Sure.
And that's what I'm trying to get used to. And I
Yeah.
know it's like I be like, hey, I need some help with my laptop, or something like that, But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing, technology
Keeping up.
nowadays.
Sure. Now, is it 7 board members or 5?
It's 7 on our board.
And how many are new?
All of us.
All 7.
All 7 of
Okay.
us are new.
Okay, so everybody's learning and growing together.
Right.
And it sounds like, again, you all are, sometime to get everybody knows like we're going to work as a group and we're going to move this thing forward.
And that's what we are. We were voted in. 4 of us were voted in, and the other 3 were handpicked and put on the board.
Okay.
We picked those.
Okay.
And we picked the board members for the PSA board, and it's 5 of those.
That's 5. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And they have committees and stuff, that
Sure.
are going to be helping them out. But we handpicked those. So it's like both boards are cohesive. We all have the same mindset. We want to do better for our kids.
Sure.
We want a whole lot better for our kids.
That's
they deserve a good education.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're all about. That's what we're trying to do.
Good. All right. Tamieko, I want you to do something. You look at that camera right there. For folks that are listening, I want you to talk to those parents out there. Tell them why they should consider bringing their students to Muskegon Heights, and even to their students might be listening, why they want to come to Muskegon Heights public school system.
I think you should bring your children back to Heights because we care. It's not about the money. It's not about anything. We want your children to get a great education, and we are going to offer more, and we want them back. We care. That's the whole thing. We care. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Thank you. And for folks that don't know, I'm going to put a plug in for Muskegon Heights. One of the things I always enjoyed, and we say this, I don't care where you go in the world. You'll be minding your own business.
Yep.
You run to one of those tigers somewhere. Or,
Yes.
or you run to the family of somebody you know.
Somebody that was a tiger, yes.
Yeah. And sometimes our young people, they don't know that network that's out there. You just run to somebody, you see them wearing orange or black, you mention Muskegon Heights, like, oh yeah, I know somebody from there. So
Right.
hopefully we get another generation we can expose to.
We trying to get that generation coming.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, hopefully this has been painless for you.
Yes.
Again, being Muskegon Heights, we've known each other a long time. Nobody
Yes.
ever introduced us. We've just known each other a very long time.
Forever.
But it's good to have you here. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
to see that you took that step to get involved,
Right.
And be a constructive part of where our community is going. I hope that things continue to go well. Hope that folks will show up on the 4th and the 24th and provide. Give you guys some.
25th.
Okay, 24th, 25th.
And the 4th.
Okay, April 4th, April 25th, Tiger Way, 4 to 7 p.m. Opportunity to, they want to hear from you. They want you to show up. They want you to share your thoughts and ideas about Muskegon Heights school system, what you'd like to see, what some of your concerns are. So we hope folks will show up for those events.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, any final thoughts, comments you want to share with us today?
No, I just want everybody to come out. Let's show these kids what we want for them. Come out, suggest, be a part of. That's all we want. We don't want you to just come in and we want the parents, aunts, uncles, grandmamas. We don't care. We just want to show our children that we care.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in. This program is on our Facebook page. Community Focus on 103.7 The Beat. If you'd like to, you can take it and share it on your page or on the school board page if you'd like as well.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope things go well and you get a great turnout at both your events in April.
Yes, I hope so.
All right, folks. It's been Tamieko Simmons. I'm forcing myself to
Say
say
great. It don't
Tamieko
matter.
Simmons, great for you Tigers. Muskegon Heights Public School System Board of Trustee member. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Class 81.
Well, folks, we're going to take a little break at the bottom of the hour. Then we'll be back with our next guest.
What's something people don't know about community impact? A simple donation could transport kids to the heart of Ghana, opening a world of possibilities. Since 2017, thanks to 103.7, the Beat and community supporters like you, dozens of kids have embarked on a journey of a lifetime to Ghana. This isn't just any trip. It's filled with learning, adventure, and joy. These kids are diving into a culture rich in tradition. They're learning about the world beyond their textbooks. This program educates and connects communities, building bridges. Your support can light up a child's life. It's an exploration of potential and a celebration of new friendships. Donate today at kidsfreetriptoafrica.com. Every donation matters. Please donate today at kidsfreetriptoafrica.com. Thank you.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Community Focus. I am Melvin Burns. Again, I'm here flying solo. My co-partner in this program, Gregory T, is recovering. So I'm manning this ship by myself. But we have our guest today is, ignore what says on the bottom of the screen. We didn't change that. My guest now is Nancy Bierenga, past president of the Greater Muskegon Women's Club. And I'm glad to have you in the program. I want you to tell folks a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have lived in Muskegon for about 25 years in the same house, which is the longest I've ever lived in one house.
Okay.
I've lived in about 30 different houses over the course of my 53 years of marriage.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I'm married to Bob, and we have 2 daughters and 5 granddaughters, and they take up a lot of my time, and the
Okay.
Women's Club takes up the rest of it.
Okay. And I looked at your bio just real quick. Your husband's a pastor.
He retired.
What was he
Mhm.
a pastor at?
At Christian Reformed Church,
Oh.
Allen Avenue.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay, I'm a pastor also in my other duties.
Yes, I knew that.
Okay. Tell us, Greater Muskegon's Women's Club. Tell us what that is and what do they do?
Okay. The Women's Club started in 1890. It was a brainchild of Mrs. Hackley and her friends, and they
Okay.
decided that women weren't being educated and they weren't a lot of cultural opportunities for them or for children. And so they wanted to do their best to bring something about.
Okay.
So they had held it in their own homes for a while. And then eventually they came to the point where it was too big for homes. So they went to churches, and they always dreamed of having a building.
Okay.
So in 1903, Mrs. Hackley had already donated a piece of land on the other end of the block from where Mr. Hackley donated the library property.
Okay.
And so then Minnie Smith donated $14,000 to build a building, and the women could dream about what they wanted. And they employed the Ware and Sons architecture firm from Chicago, and they came in by train to find out how the women wanted their club to be.
Okay.
And so the building that we have was never anything but a women's club.
Okay.
When Mrs. Smith dedicated it in late 1903, 1904, she said she wanted it to be a building for every woman. And so that's why it's called the Women's Club instead of Women's Club.
Okay. I imagine it's Well, I was gonna say is some things probably have evolved over time, but some of those issues still remain today.
Absolutely, that is very
Yeah.
true.
So how does one become a member?
You just tell us you want to join, and
Okay.
it's $100 is all it costs
Oh.
for a year of membership.
So this is not an exclusive country
No,
club kind of.
no,
Okay.
no, not at all.
Okay. Good.
We are just a really big group of people that enjoy each other.
Yeah. And what's the mission? What are the mission and goals of
The
club?
cultural and educational enrichment of women and children is
Okay.
really what our goal has been from the very beginning, and it continues today.
Okay.
So we have been dedicated to that for many years. In the 1960s, I think it was, the Muskegon Heights Women's Club and the Muskegon Women's Club merged together,
Oh. Okay.
and that became the Greater Muskegon Women's
Gotcha.
Club.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, good for Muskegon. Wonderful.
Yeah, yeah,
Good for
it's
us.
great.
Yeah.
And we are one of the, I think, 4 continuously operating women's clubs in the United States,
Wow.
and one of only 3 or 4 that own our own building. Most of them have given them to foundations, probably because they were smart. But we maintain our own building. We
Yeah.
just put on $160,000 new metal roof,
Oh.
and it looks just like the original clay tile roof, but the building feels a lot better
Yeah.
because it's a lot lighter weight.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's challenges owning the building when you're.
There are always
nonprofit
challenges
entity,
trying to
yes.
raise money to keep the
Yeah.
building going.
Yeah. So what's been some of the history of the club and things they've done in Muskegon?
We were very involved in the hiring of the first female police officer in the city. In fact, I think she was the first in the state of Michigan.
Oh, wow.
And it was here in Muskegon. But then we weren't happy with her having been hired. We got her own office because she shouldn't have to share with those men that smoke and drink
Okay.
and swear.
Okay.
And then when when cars came out for police, she got her own car because of the same reason.
They let her drive?
Yeah, they let her drive, actually.
Oh,
We were also very instrumental in the passing of a law that it's illegal to spit on the sidewalk,
okay.
because the women got really tired of wiping that up with their long dresses.
Okay.
And we had, in conjunction with the Hackley School of Nursing, we had a well baby clinic, which was one of the first ones in the state of Michigan also.
Oh, awesome.
So that has always been very important to us. And over the years, we've had a philanthropy each year, and most of them center somehow around the education, early childhood education.
Okay.
Early reading is very important to us.
Okay.
So all of our children's activities that we do, we give children a book about that activity. So
Okay.
we just finished Dr. Seuss's birthday party last weekend, and it was great fun. We had a jammed house, 120 some people in our ballroom, and we all enjoyed green eggs and ham for breakfast.
Of course.
And a
course.
cat in a hat, and thing 1 and thing 2 came and did autographs and read books to the kids. And then we had a birthday cake or cupcakes for Dr. Seuss's birthday, and just really enjoyed having all the children there. And they had a riot. It was so much
Great,
fun.
Great.
Then the next thing coming up is on May, I think it's the first Sunday in May, we're having a princess party.
Okay.
And it looks like Pepto-Bismol spills in the club because it's all pink and ruffles and
Yes,
girly
yes.
girl. And the girls get tiaras and scepters and all that kind of stuff, and fairy dust flies. And
Mhm.
it's just really a fun morning, or
Okay.
afternoon rather, for the
Yeah.
kids. And then in November, we build gingerbread houses.
Oh, okay.
Last year, we built 220 gingerbread houses
Oh.
on one weekend in 4
Wow.
sessions.
Okay.
And all of the events are $15 for an adult and a child, and what they go home with. And so it's
Okay.
really, we try to keep the price very, very low. So we look for underwriting and sponsorships and things for those deals.
Okay. Okay.
And then we do some adult activities, which
Okay.
is what brings me here today.
Yes. Well, let's talk about the adult activities.
Okay. So some of the different adult activities are like fancy dinners with catered dinners with entertainment and things
Mhm.
like that, and tables decorated by different people.
Mhm.
Those are happening. There's one in May, and then there's one in December. And
Okay.
so those are the major things. We also have a monthly book talk. And so we choose a book that we discuss, we read
Okay.
and discuss together.
Mhm.
And so that's always fun. And we do dine out, which goes to locally owned restaurants. And
Okay.
we just kind of go around town, and 6, 7, 8, 10 of us get together and
Okay.
enjoy each other's company.
Sure.
This week's Saturday, however, is
Mhm.
Women of Accomplishment.
Okay. Yes.
And this is something that started in 1997 with MCC started it.
Okay.
And then they asked for help from the women's division of the chamber.
Mhm.
And then they asked for help additionally from us because
Okay.
we have our own building.
Okay.
And so that cuts the cost a whole lot if you can have it in your own building.
Sure.
And so each year, women are nominated by the community, by people
Okay.
in the community, different businesses
Mhm.
or individuals or groups nominate women who have had a big impact on other women
Okay.
and on children. And so we have a long list of people that have been honored over the
Okay.
years. This year, we are honoring Tara Carson and Chris McGugan and Jamie Sawa.
Okay.
And so those women are invited to fill a couple tables of people. And
Okay.
Henrietta Hadley is going to be our speaker. And so we talk about how important it is to volunteer back to your community, because giving
Awesome.
back to your community is what really fulfills
Yes.
us as human beings.
Yes. Now, what day is this event?
This is on Saturday, the 29th.
Okay.
We are sold out. We are
Okay.
packed.
Okay.
So we don't have any more room this year.
Okay.
But one of our biggest problems is getting a wide variety of nominations.
Okay.
We start that in January.
Mhm.
And so mostly if people would like our club on Facebook, then you find out when we have things coming.
Okay.
And that's really where we do most of our advertising since
Okay.
it's free.
Uh-huh.
But we do like to work out partnerships wherever we can. So hint,
Okay.
hint. But we need to get nominations of people that have made an impact on their community.
Okay. Just real briefly, tell me something about this year's nominees.
Tara she started the HBCU club for students in
Yes.
7th through 12th grades.
Mhm.
And there are students from both Muskegon and Grand Rapids in that club.
Yes.
And student speakers share vital information on thriving in college.
Okay.
And I think probably that adjustment is the biggest thing to happen to
Yes.
children. My 5 granddaughters, 3 of them are in that process. And
Yeah.
it's always difficult. So it's
Sure.
good to have them have service projects,
Mhm.
college tours,
Mhm.
so that they feel familiar with the college when they get there.
Okay.
She's been a member of Alpha sorority since 1998. And they feed the hungry, distribute food and hygiene products to children, and register citizens to vote, among other projects.
Yes.
She's a teacher with a wide-ranging impact who works with the Boys and Girls Club of Muskegon and serves in many capacities at her church.
All right, Tara, we're getting a shout out to you. I've interviewed her on a program. A wonderful young lady, and I love what they're doing.
Yeah. Chris McGugan, probably most people know her as the head of the foundation here in town.
Yes.
And so she did that, but she has really, after 19 years as the head of that, she elevated women by hiring, mentoring, and living as an example of a professional woman who engaged both her community and her family, and raised a family in addition to doing all of that. She also has led both civic and nonprofit organizations by serving on boards. She's a member of Rotary. She has worked with her church, with Planned Parenthood, with the Muskegon Bar Association. And currently she's a county commissioner, as well as serving on the board for the Boys and Girls Club of Muskegon that she helped create.
All right. Yeah. Congratulations, Chris. And I worked with her years ago. Glad
Yeah.
to see her being honored.
And Jamie Sawa is the third. She graduated in 2012 from Calvin University with a master's in education and is with an emphasis in curriculum and instruction. So
Okay.
during that time she spent at school, she gained a deeper understanding of issues related to social justice, the need for human rights and advocacy. And today she is in a 20-plus year, or she had a 20-plus year career in the hospitality sector, and has really enjoyed and appreciated the differences between people, but how they really are all tied together.
Yes.
She served as the program director for the Culinary Institute of Michigan since 2010, and has been a hospitality educator for over 20 years. She looks very young. I don't know. She has most recently accepted a position with Baker College to serve the entire student population as the director of student affairs. So she connects students with each other and with other, with opportunities.
Yes. Well, to all three of those women, on behalf of 103.7 The Beat, we want to congratulate you. and celebrate you. And unfortunately, it's sold out. If you heard all those names and wanted to attend, maybe you can barter with one of your neighbors or something. But well, that's even good. It's sold out. That's
It
good
is.
news.
That's exciting that
That's
it's
good
sold out.
news.
We have a lot of community support for that.
Awesome. Let me ask you, again, it's not an aha question, but
Mhm.
in today's culture, is that even that name, a women's club? It's not sitting around knitting and talking about, is it, do you get that, or do you explain to people why?
We do
Like
get
being
it.
say, let me tell you what a women's club really is.
Yeah, yeah, and then we do explain it.
Yes.
We have male members.
Mhm.
Bob Skolnick was our first male member, and
That
he's been a
figures.
member. Yeah, I know. He's been a member for 12 years, I think, something like that. So for
Yes.
quite a while.
Yes.
But we have more members than just him,
Mhm.
and we appreciate having male members.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they aren't usually the ones that come to lunch with us.
Okay.
But maybe it's because they're still working.
Uh-huh.
We do have lunch together the first Wednesday of most months.
Okay.
And so that's a good time for us to reinforce what we believe and
Yes.
learn about what's happening in our community and
Yes.
things like that. But yes, we do get questions about, is it just for women? But it's not just for women, but because of the cultural differences and everything that happens, we feel like that's still a big emphasis
Yeah.
for us.
And I guess we joked earlier, but still relevant today. Women in the workplace or balancing family and work.
Mhm.
Still some issues that are common to women that environments like this can be helpful too.
Yes. Yes, I
Okay.
think so. And even if you're working during the day, you have to eat. So you
Yes.
might as well come over and have lunch with us once a
Might
month.
as well. Yeah. And you talked about the history of the building, the
Mhm.
Women's Club, and how important is it that you all are part of that Muskegon history?
We feel it's vital.
Yes.
We are very visible on the corner. We're the building on the opposite end of the block from the
Mhm.
library. We have the big white pillars out front. And so
Yes.
people recognize our building and they wonder what goes on in there. But there's no secrets.
Yes.
We would love to have
Mhm.
anybody stop in and visit us when we're at any time you'd like to.
Yeah.
And you can just get hold of someone at the club and leave a message and we'll get back to you. It might take a little while because we don't monitor our phone at the club because we're not usually there. But when someone is there,
Yes.
we'll get back to you.
Yeah. Now you didn't come for this, but I know how things are. If people are interested in donating to the club and some of the things you do, how can they do that?
Facebook is the best way to get connected with us.
Okay.
And we do take Venmo, we take
Mhm.
credit cards, we take checks, we take cash,
Mhm.
any way that people would like to donate to us. And we can
Okay.
either specify that it goes for like an activity and a sponsorship for an
Mhm.
activity,
Okay.
or it can just go to the general club.
Okay.
Like I said, we just finished a $160,000 project putting on a new roof. And then Mr. and Mrs. Playford donated to us the redo of our ballroom because of the
Awesome.
water damage. And so
Mhm.
that's all been redone.
Awesome.
Now we've raised enough money to have the parlor redone. We still have a couple rooms that need some renovation and that are looking a little shabby. And so we really want to be a good first impression when
Sure.
people walk into the building.
Okay. Now, how many years did you serve as president?
I was president for 2 years.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly when it was. I think it was about 2018, probably something like
Okay.
that, 17 and
Okay.
18. But we had the president that we had 3 ago, I think,
Mhm.
turned 30 while she was president
Okay.
and had her first baby while she was
Mhm.
president. So it's not like we're all old ladies.
Yeah.
I'm probably one of the older ones,
Yeah.
but
So
now
So in the
but-
time you've been part of the club, how have you seen it evolve even in the time you've been there?
it has really changed.
Mhm.
We were struggling for members when I first joined, and we were
Yeah.
probably at about 65 or 70. And just yesterday, the membership chair mentioned that we have 126 now. And
Okay.
so there was a time, like in 2015, that we had 350 some members, but they couldn't have all been to the building
Oh.
because the fire marshal says 174. And we stick
Okay.
to that very, very much because we don't
Okay.
want to get in trouble,
Sure.
but also because it's just not comfortable to be that crowded
Oh,
anymore.
no.
I think used to be that
Mhm.
people were used to not taking up a lot of room. Even
Yeah.
though they had those hoop skirts and stuff, they still didn't take up a lot of room like we
Yeah.
do today.
Yeah. we had a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
you gotta send. I got a place for your coat and your purse and your tablet and your phone.
Yep.
And you got an elbow room. Yeah, we do. We take up a lot of space.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And we just don't like to be elbow to elbow with people very much. We like a little bit of room.
Yeah.
So it's crowded in the building with 135. But the other way we make money is we do rent out our facility.
Okay.
And so we have pretty strict renting rules because of all our antiques and because the building is so priceless to us.
Yes, yes.
But we do rent it out, and we try to stay on the lower end of the price range.
Yeah.
So it can be used for lots of different things. We do use it almost free for nonprofits to have meetings that they want to be off of their own campus and on someplace else. Kind of think outside the box when you're not in your own surroundings.
Okay.
And so we try to make that available to people.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be honest. You're educating and informing me, which is what we try to do with our program, because I didn't know much about the. I saw the building there. I thought it was a private women's club here in Muskegon. I feel ignorant saying it, but I know I'm not alone.
No.
So I really appreciate you informing and educating us today. Question. You've been involved for a number of years, and I can hear your passion for it. Any thoughts about I know you're not the president. Rachel Gorman's taking over as president. Congratulations, Rachel. I think the world of her, and I'm sure she'll do an outstanding job.
She's chair of the Women of Accomplishment.
I'm sorry, I misread that. Okay, who's the current president?
The current president is Holly Nolan.
Okay, Holly Nolan. Okay, any thoughts about future direction? If overall discussion about the future direction of the club, or some things you want to get into that you haven't been involved in the past?
No, I think just expanding the audience that we have is a big thing. We have Kathy Moore is coming in as president in June, and so she will bring whole new ideas to the club. And so we're trying to get more people that are really willing to invest themselves into the club, because we need people that not just pay their dues, but that actually participate and are willing to take leadership positions in different places.
Awesome. Now you said the Women of Accomplishment started in, would you say 97?
Yes, 97. It was the first one.
Okay.
And since then, more than 100 women have been honored from the 400 plus nominations that have been submitted. So think about women who are influential in the community and who would be able to.
Yeah. So now this night you said you have a speaker, Henrietta Hadley, and was anything else take place during this night?
We have breakfast. Okay. It's on Saturday in the morning.
Okay.
And so it's a brunch. Okay. And it's catered by Dave's Country Catering. They do a fantastic job for us with way more food than what we can ever eat.
That's always good for an event to have too much food.
It is good for an event. And so mostly it's just that, and then presenting awards to the nominee or the people who are awardees for this year. And the keynote speaker is a challenge to become involved in your community. Okay. Because that's what makes a community tick.
Okay. If I had asked you, just summarize what's been your greatest joy or feeling of appreciation for being a part of the Women's Club, what would you say it's been?
Mostly it's the far greater outreach that we've had multiculturally, and then also multi-age wise. Yeah. We have gone from I was one of the youngest members when I joined 15 or so years ago. And now I'm probably one of the older ones, but there are still people a fair bit older than me, and there are many people younger than me. And that is such a joy, because it won't go on if it's not spreading out.
Yeah. And again, it makes it interesting dynamics. You talk about programming or reaching kids to get people not just across ethnic groups, but across generational lines.
Right.
I'm older. I have a 25-year-old daughter, and we don't speak this. We need a translator sometime.
Oh yeah, I have a 27-year-old granddaughter.
Okay, yeah.
So that's how much older I am than you.
And I'll make these references sometime. And she'll be like, "Who is that?" And I was like, I might say like Lucille Ball or something like that. She was just like, "Who?" I was like, how young are you? She's like, you made me, you should know. But but it's good, again, get those ranges. It makes every organization better, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you don't have a future, if you don't have younger people, you don't have a future.
Yes, that's for sure. Again, the event is this Saturday at what time?
Saturday, March 29 at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Women of Accomplishment. Again, they're packed. But will you do something for me, Nancy? Look at that camera. For people that maybe, none of us have extra free time, but maybe they're looking for something to get involved in that as a benefit to the community. Why don't you make that appeal to be a part of the Greater Muskegon Women's Club?
We would love to have you join the Women's Club. We have great fun together. There are a wide variety of activities that everyone can find something that gives them a challenge and gives them some joy. And that's really what we want to do. We want everybody to feel like they belong and like they're just part of a group of people who care about them.
And they can get in touch with the club through your Facebook page. That's the best way.
The Facebook page is the very best way to get in touch with us.
And what's the address of the club?
280 West Webster.
Yeah. So if you're driving around Muskegon, maybe you missed it or you're listening to this, you're a guest coming in town this summer. Beautiful building. You want to drive by, get it's part of that landscape of as Muskegon's downtown is changing. So it's a mix of the you have the new modern as well as the old traditional. So it's a beautiful building to take a look at. And is it open during the weekdays? At times people want to come
Not
in?
a lot. No. I will make arrangements to meet people there and take a tour anytime they would like to do that. And
are there any set times that people can come in and tour the building?
No, not really. It's really just when there's a cruise ship in town, we try to have someone there when there's a cruise ship, and then the bus sometimes stops. But as you can tell, I can talk about the club forever.
Well, that's good.
So,
we want people that are passionate. That's awesome.
I am that. Yes.
Yes. So off script a little bit. You're retired correctly, and from what profession do you?
I was a realtor.
Okay, here in Muskegon.
Yes.
Okay.
With the Line Realty.
Okay. What else do you do in your retirement?
Well, mostly my grandkids.
That's full-time work.
I have two of them still in high school, and so we end up over in Forest Hills for a lot of musical things and drama and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then I have one that is a music therapist in the greater Chicago area, Mount Prospect. And so we try to get there to her, and she's a member of a band there, a city band.
Okay.
And so we go to those performances when we can. And then we have one down in Holland, and we have one in Pennsylvania in college.
So you can get to a little travel.
We go all over. Yeah, just to the grandkids.
That's great.
But we like to travel. And so we just got back from Antigua in the West Indies.
Okay.
And so we get some international travel in too. So
great.
As well as local.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to give you a chance to make one last statement about the event Saturday or the Women's Club in general. I'm going to close us out here. So, anything else you want to say?
It is one of our greatest honors that we are able to celebrate the achievements that women are making in the community and in their families and in all around them. And because we get to celebrate that, we get to have this breakfast on Saturday, the 29th. And unfortunately, it is sold out, but maybe next year I can get on a little earlier in the year so that we can get it. Well, it's still open.
Yes.
And we would love to have you stop in at the club sometime to have a tour. You can just get hold of us on Facebook and we will make those arrangements.
Thank you so much for joining us, Nancy.
Thank you so much.
Tell your husband I said hello and enjoy his retirement. Okay.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Folks, this has been Community Focus. Again, I'm Melvin Burns. To my brother Greg, continue to get well. To everybody here at the station, I appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity and making us look good and sound good. March is Women's Appreciation Month or Women's History Month. With our church, we have a women's program, but let's make it more than just words. As we said earlier in the program, being a woman in whatever environment, if you're home, if you're working, if you're involved in a nonprofit, it always brings a unique set of challenges that men don't have. So let's do more than just saying words. We appreciate women. We support women. Our actions are what really, really speak the loudest. So you got a couple of days left. Women's History Month, maybe educate yourself. Find some women to support. That shouldn't be hard, but make the month meaningful for you. We appreciate you all joining us. This has been Community Focus. As my brother Greg likes to say, go out and be a blessing to somebody. Thanks a lot.
The wait is over. The all-new Umoja Radio Network, home to over 40 Black-owned radio stations and podcasts, is here for you.